Fortinet just dropped a critical authentication bypass that's already being exploited in the wild. And CISA has wasted no time adding it to the KEV list.
I'm Morgan, that's Alex. It feels like we're starting every other morning with a Fortinet alert lately, but this one seems particularly broad. Let's break it down.
It really is. This is CVE 2026-24858, and it's a 9.8 on the severity scale. The technical term is an authentication bypass using an alternate path or channel. Essentially, an attacker can find a way around the front door to gain unauthorized access to the system management side of things.
And when you say broad, we're not just talking about one product. The advisory covers FortiOS, FortiManager, and FortiAnalyzer. That's basically the entire brain of a lot of enterprise networks.
Exactly. If you're running FortiAnalyzer versions 7.0 through 7.6, or similar ranges for FortiManager and FortiOS, you're likely affected. Fortinet's PCERT advisory, FG-IR-26-060, lists the specific patches. The scary part is that CISA confirmed it's being actively used by threat actors, which usually means there's a reliable exploit script floating around in the underground.
This reminds me of the series of edge device flaws we saw last year. Attackers are moving away from the endpoint and straight for the infrastructure that manages the endpoints. If you own the FortiManager, you own the network. Okay, what's next on the list? I see a perfect 10.0 score here.
Yeah, that's CVE 2026-23830. It's a sandbox escape in a library called SandboxJS. Now, for the non-devs, a sandbox is supposed to be a safe container where you can run untrusted code without it touching the rest of your system. This library tries to do that by replacing the standard JavaScript function constructor with a safe version.
But let me guess. They missed a spot?
They missed a big one. They mapped the standard function to their safe version, but they forgot to do the same for async function. So if an attacker writes code using an asynchronous function, it bypasses the sandbox's security logic entirely. It's a classic case of an incomplete blacklist.
That's the danger with these JS libraries. They're so modular that one oversight in how a specific function type is handled can sink the whole ship. If you're using SandboxJS, you need to be on version 0.8.26 or higher immediately.
Right. And while we're on the topic of self-hosted tools, we have to talk about Dokploy. It's a popular open source platform as a service, and it just got hit with a 9.9 severity flaw, CVE 2026-24841.
Dokploy. That's the one people use as an alternative to things like Heroku, right? For managing Docker containers?
Exactly. The issue is in their WebSocket endpoint for the terminal. When you're interacting with a container through the web UI, it uses parameters like container ID and active way. The problem is that Dokploy was taking those inputs and dropping them directly into shell commands without any sanitization.
Oh, that's a textbook command injection. If I'm an authenticated user, I can just append my own malicious commands to those parameters, and the server will execute them as if it's part of the normal Docker operation.
Spot on. It gives an attacker full control over the host server. They fixed it in version 0.26.6. So, if you're self-hosting your dev environment with Dokploy, that update is your top priority today.
Moving away from specific vulnerabilities, we have some heavy news regarding the Polish power grid. This is giving me serious 2016 Ukraine vibes.
It should. Dragos just published an intelligence brief attributing a coordinated cyber attack on the Polish power grid back in December 2025 to a Russian state-sponsored group called Electrum. They're calling it the first major attack targeting distributed energy resources.
Electrum. Wait, aren't they the ones linked to the crash override malware? The group that's been hovering around industrial control systems for years.
The very same. This attack wasn't just a simple data breach. It was a direct hit on operational technology, or OT. Dragos has medium confidence in the attribution, but the sophistication and the targeting of multiple sites across the grid suggest a very high level of coordination. It's a reminder that the cyber part of warfare is very much active in Eastern Europe right now.
And it's not just infrastructure. Even the tools we use to defend or build are being weaponized. Did you see the report about the VS Code marketplace? There's a fake AI assistant called Moltbot, formerly known as Claudebot, that's actually a malware dropper.
I did. It's listed as Claudebot Agent, AI Coding Assistant. It looks legitimate, promises free AI help, but once a developer installs it, it stealthily drops a malicious payload. It's a clever play, targeting developers because they usually have high-level access to sensitive corporate codebases.
It's the same old supply chain trick, just with a modern AI coat of paint. Speaking of old tricks, Google is warning that nation-state actors are still getting a lot of mileage out of WinRAR. Specifically, CVE 2025-8088.
Right, this was patched back in July 2025, but Google's threat analysis group is seeing government-backed hackers from Russia and China, along with financially motivated groups, still using it for initial access. They're sending out malicious archives, and because people are slow to update utility software like WinRAR, it's still working.
It's the boring stuff that gets you. People remember to patch their OS, but they forget the file archiver they installed 5 years ago. Before we wrap up, we should mention SolarWinds is back in the news with some critical flaws in their web help desk software.
Yeah, they've released updates for an authentication bypass and a remote command execution vulnerability. If you're using their IT help desk tools, you need to move quickly. We've seen how fast attackers jump on SolarWinds products given their history.
And on a final note of justice served, the co-creator of the Empire dark web market just pleaded guilty in Virginia. That market facilitated over $430 million in illegal transactions. It's a huge win for the feds, even if it took a few years to get there.
Definitely. All right, the priority for today. If you're a Fortinet shop, check your versions against CVE 2026-24858 immediately. It's in the KEV, which means the clock is ticking. And maybe take 5 minutes to make sure your team isn't installing free AI assistants from the VS Code marketplace.
Your daily AI-powered security briefing. If this saved you time, subscribe. We're here every morning.
Stay patched, stay paranoid.